Hey, Shalom. First, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect the house of David. Let's get into this. This is going to be about, Lord's will. Lord willing, because it's all in His will. We can't boast and say we're gonna do something of our own power, of our own thoughts, of our own control. Nah, it's up to the Lord's will. And it's like you go and say you're gonna do this and do that, but the Lord will have something interrupt your day to show that He's in control. Like you'll go to the store and say you're going to pick up such and such item, but when you get there, that specific item you was looking for is not there. You say you're gonna go meet up a friend and you plan this day to do it, but something happens that have you rescheduling for a later date. Why? Because everything's in the Lord's will. That's why we should say, if the Lord's will, I'm gonna get a precept out of this. Is James chapter 4, starting at verse 14. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanish away. For that we ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. But now you see, that's what you're supposed to do, That's what you're supposed to do, because what you don't know is the Lord might take you out or take that person out or take that item out, So it's Lord's will. We're going to travel to this city. We're going to take a trip to that place. And we're going to come home and say, Lord will. You can't speak like you're the author. Nah. You're just a character in the story. You are not the author. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful, because there'll be evil boasting. You don't have that kind of power. Because if you did, you would already be a millionaire. You would already be out of the rat race. You would have already broken the so-called matrix. Verse 16. But now you rejoice in your boastings. All such rejoicing is evil. You see? So nah. Because that's like you boasting, saying, hey, I'm the Most High. I dictate creation. I dictate reality. When I say I'm going somewhere, I'm going to go that place, This ain't the simple stuff like I'm going to just head to Walmart, Even then, people like, I'm going to be heading to Walmart. What? They get in a car crash and never make it to that store or never return home, So you have to be careful. You have to say Lord's will, because what? We know and believe that He is in control. So we say Lord's will. I go this way. I go that way. Let me get this example. This is Luke chapter 12, starting at verse 16. And He spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do, because I have no more room where to bestow my fruits? And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast such much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But the Most High said unto him, Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be, which thou hast provided? So it is he that layeth up treasure for himself is not rich towards Yahweh Shah. You know? Now there was an example of a man saying he was going to do such and such thing, but the Lord interrupted that and took his life. You know? Because he tried to dictate like he was the author, but also, you know, he was doing it in a selfish way. In a selfish way, he was thinking about self and not the whole, and not the body, and not being, you know, as Scripture says, you're supposed to be charitable. You know, like he teaches Israel not to be hoarders. You know, not to be hoarders. That's why when you there's a law that when you go through the grain, you know, when you harvest, leave some for the poor. You don't go through and take up everything. Nah, you leave some for the poor. You leave some who's gonna come after, so they may gain and eat. You know, the commonwealth. You know, everybody having that commonwealth. Everybody eats like something. It's the priest, the captain Elder Abaya always quoting a movie. I think it's Paid in Full. He's like everybody eats beef. You know, I might be quoting the wrong movie. You know, but yeah, you know, everybody's supposed to eat. Not only that, but don't dictate like you're the author. You're just the character in the story. You know, you don't want Yahweh Shema Shah to put that period at your sentence at the end of your character and never write again. Cause what? That means your story has ended. You know what they used to say back in them old movies when it all ends? Finn, your ass Finn. You know. But yeah, be humble when you're going about your day to day, and remember to say Lord willing, and remember that He is in control. You know, that He dictates. You know, that He guides our steps. That He maneuver around. You know. The day ends when He said it ends. You know. So with that, I hope you was edified. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai, the honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopefully the house of David. Until next time, Yahweh willing, Shalom.